Okay, thank you very much,
Recording is in progress.
Andrew. So, and I'm assuming we are broadcasting already, so welcome everybody to week 118 of our Indigenous Global Unity Summit event that we have been doing every Thursday for the past couple of years. I do begin these events by acknowledging those who came before us on this land, and I say a land acknowledgement. We begin today by acknowledging that we walk upon the traditional territories of Indigenous peoples. We recognize their history, spirituality, culture, and stewardship of the land. We're grateful to all Indigenous groups for their commitment to protect the land and its resources. We're committed to reconciliation, partnership, and enhanced understanding. We acknowledge the land that I am residing and visiting here in Taoyuan, Taiwan, is the traditional territory of many nations, including Austronesian Indigenous peoples who have lived on this island for over 8,000 years, the East Formosan tribes of the Atayal peoples of central and northern Taiwan, also known as the Tayal or Tayan, meaning human or man, and where Taoyuan City in this modern age contains 16 different Aboriginal groups whose population exceeds 70,000, making Taoyuan the most populated city for Indigenous peoples on the western part of the island. We also acknowledge the Indigenous Culture Center of Taoyuan City, first established in May 2004, as having become a gathering point for the Indigenous peoples, as well as being listed as one of Taoyuan City's story houses, and whose totem poles on Rainbow Avenue express the Indigenous spirit with beautiful lines, where the colors on the base of each totem pole derive from the costumes of the different tribes, integrating with the unique landscapes of Taiwan to symbolize the unity of all ethnic peoples. We would like to thank the Indigenous peoples of these lands, including the Atayal, for sharing this land with us in our role as settlers and visitors and displaced people on this land. We share the responsibility of challenging and disrupting colonial systems that enact violence upon the land and stand in solidarity with Indigenous peoples. We also acknowledge and recognize all the world's Indigenous peoples as stewards of Mother Earth. So as we come forward, I will advance the slide. I actually should have advanced it earlier, as I was saying, the Atlantic. This is part of what I have just read. So starting as well to say to all our friends in Africa, or Al-Kebulan, Asante Sana, or thank you very much in Swahili. So thank you for joining us today for this IGU Summit event. I do also like to say Sawubona, which means I see you, I see myself in you, and I see your hopes, your dreams, and your struggles. I see your ancestors as well, because interconnectedness does not end with two people who are greeting each other. It extends to include the ancestors, where all beings in Mother Nature are interconnected. There is no sense of being separate. I see myself in all beings, and therefore, if I harm other beings or Mother Nature, it translates into harming myself. So the events coming up, today is Thursday, September 7th, 2023. This is, again, week 118 of our IGU Summit series. We missed last week, unfortunately, because our guest speaker was not available to present. Our guest speaker today is Toy Marte from UnityNet Burkina Faso and the Latawan Permaculture Center, also known as the Centre de Permaculture Latawan in French. The title of her presentation is Permaculture, an Alternative Path to Resilient Local Agriculture, the case of the Latawan Center in Bobo, Dioulasso, Burkina Faso. Just let me get my chat going here as well, so I can put up some information for those who are on our call with us here on Zoom. So first, as a short introduction to let our audience know who is UnityNet and what we're doing. These global Unity Network events, like this one, are intended to facilitate regenerative localization by helping to identify and bring together all of the local, regional, national, and international partners required for creating the global multi-stakeholder partnerships, our INAB collaborative empowerment networks that help to empower our local regenerative development solutions providers, our UnityNet female and feminist humanitarian entrepreneurs in all of our local communities worldwide. What is our goal? We are assisting in the global transition to a responsible, localized, productive, compassionate, collaborative, regenerative economy that leaves no one behind as we approach the end of the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs, which are from 2015 to 2030. Again, in the chat, you'll find a little bit of information about our guest speaker, and her Facebook group she's with. So again, today, September 7th, also the International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies, where the International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies was designated on the 7th of September by the UN General Assembly in 2019. This follows the international community's increasing interest in clean air and emphasis on the need to make further efforts to improve air quality. During the International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies, we call upon everyone, from governments and corporations to civil society and individuals, to come together to overcome air pollution. Tomorrow, September 8th, is also International Literacy Day, which is a day to raise awareness about global literacy needs and celebrate literacy achievements. The day is observed annually on September 8th. This date is important as well, considering that our main job in UnityNet is to establish the structures that will facilitate the delivery of education and training via the Global Unity Network virtual and physical infrastructure in support of a new phase of global goals that may be focused on regenerative development. As well, we're hoping to start a campaign, at least in support of the Rotary International Year of Literacy for 2024. Those conversations are currently in negotiations. There's also Saturday, September 9th, which is the International Day to Protect Education from Attack. The day generates attention to attacks on students, teachers, and education institutions during armed conflict, the use of schools for military purposes, as well as efforts aimed at promoting and protecting the right of education and facilitating the continuation of education in and during armed conflict, including the Safe Schools Declaration. And then early next week, on Tuesday, September 12th, just before our next IGU Summit, is the UN Day for South-South Cooperation, where the UN Day for South-South Cooperation is a powerful reminder that when nations unite, they can overcome obstacles and accelerate sustainable development. The UN Day for South-South Cooperation showcases the growing capacity for South-South and triangular cooperation to contribute to global development. Again, you'll find information about these events in the chat, including for the International Day of Clean Air and Blue Skies, which is today, along with the International Day or International Literacy Day, important since 2024 may be designated at least by Rotary International as the year to eradicate illiteracy. So we have now started to prepare for our 11 days of UnityNet Youth Peace Weeks in October, where all of our members will continue to celebrate our diversity of humanity. The Youth Peace Week starts on Global Cooperation Day, October 4th, and continues until October 16th, which is World Food Day. Although this year we are likely to extend the celebrations and Youth Peace Weeks events and turn October into Youth Peace Month instead, and open up the whole month to make presentations about regenerative development options. So this is also the time of the year where in future, we intend to host our yearly UnityNet Global Climate Smart Youth Forum event, on or around World Food Day, but where this year we'll again do a series of virtual events throughout the month of October. It's during these weeks that we encourage all of our local INAB collaborative members and others to celebrate our diversity by doing events that they're related to the themes of the UN events in October, and also support the Science for Peace Climate Smart Food Program, which itself supports local implementation of solutions for achieving climate mitigation and drawdown, or SDG 13 climate action, along with local implementation of solutions for achieving food security, the regenerative climate smart way, SDG number 2, zero hunger. Events can be done on any date between October 4th and 19th, ideally, but this year, where the entire month of October is set aside for the Youth Peace Month events in 2023, the purpose of these events will be so that our members might do during these UnityNet Youth Peace Weeks, raise funding for their local practical reconciliation community projects and initiatives, and begin planning for next year's Community Youth Peace Gardens to be established in all of our local communities of UnityNet globally as places where we can celebrate our diversity globally together. So this is the last big event that UnityNet members will do every year, but after October will not be quiet. These weekly IGO Summit events will continue until at least the end of the year, to be determined, and then we will start preparations for Sunlight Spectacle 2024 that will take place early next year, which also includes a fundraiser for some regenerative projects, not just in Canada, but possibly also in Asia and Africa too. We're lucky, and people are taking action. So again, you'll find in the chat a little bit about the UnityNet Youth Peace Weeks, which start on October 4th, which is a Wednesday, and finishes on World Food Day, October 19th, which is a Thursday. And again, this year, we are extending those events. You'll also find a little bit of information about the Ubuntu Summit, which takes place on October 4th every year. I believe we have done it 2 or even 3 times already for the past few years. This link that's there is for last year's event. There's also the UnityNet Sunlight Spectacle 2024 information. Those who wish to participate in that event. We do not have yet an Eventbrite page, but that of course is early next year. So I wanted to remind everybody that the campaign for our UnityNet fundraising is called the UnityNet Watershed Peace Gardens campaign and is led by the members of the Unity Environment Network and their allies, including in partnership with the Global Partnership for Regenerative Development members and any other UnityNet members. Our goal is to protect the ecological integrity of lakes, rivers, and watershed biodiversity in the hotspots around them, as well as bioregional eco-integrity, using the UnityNet system and working with local Indigenous peoples and their allies. During this campaign, we'd like to begin to establish rings and networks of youth peace gardens around all our sacred waters and in all the sacred ecoregions, planted by young people and their families of these regions that need ecological protection from degenerative development, like urban and industrial developments, mining, or other activities that can contaminate the waters or damage the ecological integrity of our bioregions. We'd like to also establish local teams of pollinator and watershed ambassadors. Yes.
If I may interrupt,
Stephanie?
this is a perfect, yes, hi, Stephanie Schuler from UnityNet International. This is a perfect segue for our guest to talk about permaculture as you're talking about this specific stuff, these specific topics.
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna say these last few lines, and then we'll transition over.
Perfect. Beautiful.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Lloyd. Thank you.
So with the campaigns, we're going to establish local teams of pollinator and watershed ambassadors. through this UnityNet RDG clubs at local schools and out of the local communities of the sacred watershed bioregions. We'll be doing that through the Global Sister Schools program. We'll also begin demonstrating regenerative living lifestyles that truly help to restore and regenerate ecosystems and local watershed integrity as people live their day-to-day lives. And I'll be putting some details of all of these events and all of this information into the chat. And in the meantime, I'd like to ask our guest speaker, Toi, to please come on board and begin her presentation. That's an option we can do at this moment. I can ask to unmute. I'm seeing two people with the name Toi on our call right now.
Okay, so we're looking for both Toi and Espoir Caligano, who will be acting as interpreter.
So I'm not sure. Okay.
Espoir, could you unmute your mic and introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you so much for the floor. I am Espoir Caligano. I'm the one who's going just to interpret my fellow Towe, and I always interpret Madam Lisa in her interviews that she's conducting all over the world, particularly in Africa.
Thank you, Espoir. Hopefully Toi is able to unmute herself.
Did you hear me, please?
Yes, we did hear you, Espoir.
Thank you.
Espoir, if you could please ask Toi to step forward and unmute her microphone.
Yep. Towe, s'il vous plaît. Alors, ouvrez votre micro et commencez juste votre présentation, s'il vous plaît. Towe, ouvrez le micro et allez-y doucement avec la présentation.
D'accord. Merci. Maintenant, je voudrais partager notre présentation.
Okay, now I want to share with yeah, she wants that to share the screen with you for this presentation, please.
Okay, I was going to ask her if she would like me to share it. I also have a presentation. I'll stop the
Oui,
share.
Towe, est-ce que vous pouvez partager l'écran? Oui, d'accord.
So hopefully we will have, there we go. Excellent. Beautiful. Always nice to see full screen. Now we just need Chloe to unmute herself.
Bonjour tout le monde.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Je me nomme Marthe Toé, la promotrice du Centre Lawatan, un centre spécialisé en permaculture.
I am called Towe Mart. I'm the promoter of the Lawatan Center. It is a center which is specialized in permaculture.
Ma communication est intitulée La permaculture, une voie alternative pour une agriculture locale résiliente cas de notre centre, donc à Bobo-Dioulasso au Burkina Faso.
So the topic for today is called just the permaculture, which is an alternative path for resilient local agriculture. And it is based in Bobo-Dioulasso, Burkina Faso.
Elle va être structurée autour des points suivants. D'abord, nous avons le contexte. Deuxièmement, la présentation du centre de permaculture Lawatan. Troisièmement, nous avons la vision et les principes de Lawatan. Quatrièmement, les activités de Lawatan et enfin les perspectives.
It is structured around the following points. At first, to have the context. Secondly, the presentation of Lawatan Permaculture Center. Thirdly, the vision and the principles of Lawatan. Fourthly, the activities of the Lawatan Center. And finally, we'll have the outlook.
Parlant donc du contexte, il faut d'abord noter que le Burkina Faso fait face à des défis multidimensionnels de par sa situation géographique.
Speaking first of the context, it should be noted that the Burkina Faso faces multidimensional challenges due to its geographical position. In fact,
en effet, c'est un pays sahélien enclavé en Afrique de l'Ouest, comme vous pouvez le constater sur la carte. Ce pays a un climat qui est très variable. Il est soudanien au sud et sahélien à l'extrême nord.
The country is just a Sahelian country, and it is landlocked in West Africa, as you can even see it on its map.
Une très forte croissance démographique d'une moyenne d'environ 3 par plus.
Je n'ai pas entendu là.
Au Burkina Faso, l'agriculture a un poids économique très important au regard de sa contribution au PIB qui est de 30%, tandis que 80% de la population vit de ce secteur.
The agriculture is the most important domain in Burkina Faso because it contributes a lot to its economics, because just a 3% is representing the average per year, and this is around only agriculture.
Compte tenu donc de la position géographique du pays et du poids démographique, le Burkina fait face à 3 principaux défis que sont la sécurité alimentaire.
Yeah. Considering the geographical position of Burkina Faso, it is just facing 3 major difficulties. And first, it is s'il vous plaît, Toé, vous avez dit.
Oui.
S'il vous plaît, Toé, rentrez un peu. Vous avez dit la première difficulté, c'est laquelle?
C'est le défi de la sécurité alimentaire. En effet, environ 19% de la population est affectée par l'insécurité alimentaire qui a encore aggravé ces dernières années par le déplacement massif des populations.
In effect, the difficulty that Burkina Faso is facing is that the problem of food safety. And this was influenced by people who have been living in regions for other regions because of the difficulties of wars and other things.
Le deuxième défi, c'est celui de la résilience climatique, car la production agricole est affectée par la variabilité climatique. De plus, les prévisions du GIEC, le groupe d'experts intergouvernemental sur l'évolution du climat, indique que la région sahélienne dont fait partie de Burkina serait vulnérable aux effets des changements climatiques à l'horizon 2050.
Second is the climate resilience, because this is another part which is affecting the most this domain of agriculture in Burkina Faso.
Troisièmement, c'est le défi de la neutralité de la dégradation des terres, parce que la dynamique de régénération, de dégradation plutôt des terres est très forte. Environ 460 000 hectares par an sont dégradés, si bien qu'on se retrouve aujourd'hui avec 24 à 31% des terres qui sont dégradées et nécessitent d'être restaurées.
And thirdly, we can just note the soil degradation, because every year we just realize that 80% of the soil is facing this matter of degradation.
C'est l'ensemble de ces défis qui justifient l'action qui est menée par le Centre Laotan, qui se focalise principalement sur la promotion de la permaculture.
It is because of all these difficulties that pushes all the population of Burkina Faso to focus on permaculture, to see whether they may save the situation.
Le centre de permaculture a été créé depuis 2012 à l'initiative de Marthe Toé que je suis. Comme vous pouvez l'observer sur la carte, il est situé à l'ouest du Burkina Faso, dans les périphéries de la commune urbaine de Bobo-Dioulasso. Il couvre une superficie de 33 hectares répartis en 3 zones. Une zone arborée qui couvre 58% du site, une savane arbustive sur 21% et enfin un parc agroforestier qui couvre aussi 21% du site.
The Lawantan Center was created in 2012 on the initiative or on behalf of Madame Towe Mart, who is presenting now. It is a center, as you can see on the map, which is located in the west of Burkina Faso, in the outskirts of the commune of Bobo Dioulasso, over an area of 33 hectares. And the mapping, which was done very recently, shows that, in fact, the area is largely dominated by a tree savanna, which is 58%, then a shrub savanna of 21%, and finally, an agroforestry park, which also covers 21% of the center.
Au Centre Laotan, nous pratiquons la permaculture en nous inspirant de 2 concepts clés.
So in Laotan Center, we just practice 2 key concepts regarding permaculture.
Premièrement, la permaculture, qui est fondée sur les principes de développement durable, se voulant respectueux de la biodiversité et de l'humain et consistant à imiter le fonctionnement des écosystèmes naturels.
First, the permaculture, that is just a mode of agriculture based on the principles of sustainable development, and which aims to be respectful of biodiversity and of the human, which consists of imitating the functioning of natural ecosystems.
Deuxièmement, nos pratiques s'alignent sur la norme de l'agriculture biologique définie au Burkina. Il s'agit d'un système de gestion de la production qui favorise l'agrosystème, y compris la biodiversité, le cycle biologique ainsi que l'activité biologique des sols. Je précise qu'au niveau du centre Laotan, nous n'utilisons ni pesticides ni OGM.
Secondly, it is the biological agriculture, which is a production management system which promotes the agrosystem, including biodiversity, the biological cycle as well as the biological activity of the soil. This is the standard that has been defined at the level of Burkina Faso. And I would like just to point out that at the Lawatan Center, we do not use pesticides or GMOs.
Quelle vision donc pour le centre Lawatan? Pour nous, la permaculture concilie trois domaines clés. D'abord, nous avons la santé environnementale et humaine. Ensuite, une agriculture qui doit être résiliente au climat. Et enfin, une économie circulaire et inclusive. En parlant d'économie inclusive, nous pensons bien sûr aux femmes et aux jeunes pour qui la permaculture est une opportunité d'inclusion économique.
Speaking about the vision of the Lawatan Center, we can say that it lays just on 3 key areas. Firstly, environmental and human health. Agriculture, which must be climate resilient. And then finally, a circle and inclusive economy. When speaking of just an inclusive economy, we are, of course, thinking of women and young people for whom permaculture is truly an economic opportunity and therefore an opportunity for inclusion.
Et pour réaliser une telle vision, nous respectons certains principes similaires aux éléments de l'agroécologie. D'abord, nous avons la diversité. Nous avons des activités très diversifiées de production agro-silvopastorale. Il y a la diversité cultivée et d'élevage ainsi que la diversité forestière qu'on régénère.
And to achieve this or to attain this vision, we must focus on diversity. We have very diversified activities. We have agro-silvopastoral production. There is cultivated diversity, forest diversity, which is a natural, of course, that we regenerate, introduce the diversity and pastoral diversity, but other many more.
Deuxièmement, nous faisons en sorte qu'il y ait des interactions synergiques entre tous les types de production qui sont notamment l'agriculture, l'élevage, la sylviculture, l'apiculture, ainsi de suite.
Secondly, diversity also means a synergy. So they focus on synergy. They ensure that there are synergetic interactions between all types of production, which are notably agriculture, livestock breeding, forestry, beekeeping, and so on and so forth.
Ce qui nous permet effectivement de recycler tous les résidus, de sorte que les résidus agricoles puissent profiter à l'élevage et vice-versa, et nous permet d'être beaucoup plus efficients parce que finalement, en termes d'intrants, nous sommes autonomes.
That allows them to recycle everything. There is like a train to ensure that agriculture residues can benefit livestock farming and vice versa, which allows also them to be much more efficient because ultimately in terms of a train, we don't contribute much in production because everything is recycled at the set level.
À terme, nous arrivons à un système de production adapté, résilient grâce à la diversification des activités et aux actions de gestion du sol et de l'eau.
And at the end, they arrive at a production which is very resilient because everything that is implemented as an action effectively allows much more resilience. And in addition, the diversification of production means that from one year to the next, it rains or even the rainfall is insufficient. So they can still produce.
J'ajouterai les deux autres principes qui sont très importants parce que toutes les pratiques éprouvées dans les centres sont partagées à travers des formations au profit des agriculteurs, des transformatrices, la finalité étant de favoriser la production à large échelle de la permaculture.
And she would add the two other important principles, which are really very important because everything that they do is develop the practices are in any case valued. And one of the objectives of the purpose of the center is to be able to share its knowledge, its techniques, to enable a large population to acquire the knowledge necessary or that they need for the implementation of permaculture in the whole country.
Enfin, le dernier principe repose sur l'économie circulaire et inclusive. C'est très important parce que nous nous sommes dit que la permaculture est vraiment une opportunité d'inclusion économique pour les femmes et pour les jeunes, et cela grâce aux différentes activités.
And at last, the inclusive circular economy, which is very, very important also at our level, because we said to ourselves that permaculture is really an opportunity for economic inclusion for women and for men. Here is the vision and the principles which guide the action at the Lawatan Center.
Partant donc de cette vision et de ces principes, nos activités sont à trois niveaux. D'abord, il y a des activités de restauration et de protection de l'environnement. Ensuite, nous avons des activités de production et enfin des activités de transformation et valorisation de nos produits.
Based on that vision and the principles, our activities are just at three levels. The first level is the restoration. The second level is the environmental protection. And secondly, they have also production activities. And at last, the transformation activities of products which they value, and all these activities are at the level of restoration of environmental protection.
Au niveau de la restauration et la protection de l'environnement, nous avons la restauration de la capacité productive des terres, la valorisation des biointrants et enfin la valorisation de l'eau et des énergies renouvelables.
And at that first level, they just have the value of water. They just focus on the value of water and the renewable energies. They also valorize of bio inputs and the restoration of the productive capacity of the land.
En production, c'est la restauration et la promotion de la biodiversité. Enfin, la transformation alimentaire et les cosmétiques au niveau de la transformation et la valorisation des produits.
Production also means the restoration and promotion of biodiversity. And finally, food processing and cosmetics. All these activities around are capitalized to allow us to also train to act in advisory support to the profile of the population.
Parlant des activités détaillées, la restauration des terres est faite par des aménagements anti-érosifs que vous voyez donc en image. Nous avons le cas du paillage du sol Nous avons ici les cordons pierrés et nous avons également des cordons pierrés végétalisés.
She mentioned that all these activities are on the benefit of the whole population, but also speaking about more details about these activities that are carried out. If she starts with the restoration of the land, the anti-erosion measures that you see even in the images, the cases of mulching the stone lines, they also have the stone lines vegetated with andropogon. It is necessary to note that, in fact, they did not choose these species at random, because the andropogon is very useful in their environment, since the feet are valued in crafts, and it is also a species which are very adapted quickly to the environment.
Deuxièmement, nous avons la valorisation des biointrants. À ce niveau, nous produisons nous-mêmes les fertilisants comme le compost et l'engrais liquide. Ces fertilisants sont enrichis avec du glycidia sépium que vous voyez ici en image, que nous avons introduit sur les sites. C'est une plante fertilitaire et dont les feuilles sont très riches en azote. Nous produisons également des biopesticides ainsi que des semences locales pour nous-mêmes et pour la communauté.
And secondly, they also focus on the value of bio-inputs. And at that level, they produce the inputs themselves. They also make composts, also liquid fertilizer. And it should be also noted that, in fact, the species you see just on the images, which are also sepium. It is a very, very important species because that is high, and it has high contents. So they use it to enrich the soil, and the leaves that also are used to enrich the compost, which helps them to produce crops. It is also in that way that the struggle. Sorry. S'il vous plaît, Towe, vous pouvez répéter le dernier paragraphe, je ne l'ai pas saisi. Ask her to rephrase just the last paragraph. I didn't well understood it. I'm sorry.
J'avais dit que nous produisons également des biopesticides ainsi que les semences locales pour nous-mêmes et la communauté.
Okay. Yeah, she mentioned that the last paragraph that they produce also biopesticides, but also they use local seeds.
Troisièmement, nous avons au niveau de la valorisation des eaux de pluie et des énergies. Ici, vous avez une illustration des bassins de collecte des eaux de ruissellement. Ils sont creusés vers les bas des pentes pour collecter les eaux de pluie. Ces eaux collectées servent aux animaux qui viennent dans le domaine. Elles servent également pour nos cultures.
And thirdly, or at the third level, they also focus on the value of rainwater and energy. And here, she is here illustrating the basins that they use to collect the runoff water. And these are these basins which are dug towards the bottom of the slopes to prevent part of the water which falls within our perimeter from leaving to the site.
Dans le domaine, l'énergie utilisée est d'origine solaire et sert pour le pompage de l'eau et l'éclairage domestique.
They also use solar energy.
Alors, en matière de restauration pour la biodiversité, je vous présente un échantillon de ce que nous faisons au niveau du site. Nous produisons des pépinières que vous voyez ici, des plantes forestières et des cultures annuelles. Nous faisons également du maraîchage. Ici, nous voyons du chou en association avec des plantes aromatiques comme répulsifs naturels. Nous faisons du maraîchage biologique. Nous avons également des animaux qui profitent du domaine parce que 79% du site est pâturé par les animaux. Nous avons également des plantes médicinales. En image, nous avons ici le curcuma et là le securidaka, une plante locale qui est très utilisée dans la médecine traditionnelle. Nous faisons également de l'apiculture.
And in terms of restoration for biodiversity, she just presents to you samples of what they do at the site level, And what you can see is the production of nurseries. The production of nurseries is, of course, both cash crops and annual crops. They also have the gardening, which is practiced organically. And at that site level, she also mentions that this is very important for animals because it takes advantage of the area at 79% of the site, which is grazed by animals. We also have medical plants. And here I give you some samples of turmeric, which is a local plant and which is widely used in traditional medicine. We also have beekeeping, of course.
Retenons que les sites concentrent une très forte biodiversité, à la fois cultivée et naturelle. En matière de la restauration de la biodiversité forestière, je vous présente les 20 premières espèces les plus abondantes recensées sur le site. Après quelques années d'action menée par le centre, ce site apparaît aujourd'hui comme une niche de biodiversité forestière. Nous avons 24 familles de plantes, 54 genres et 59 espèces ligneuses, avec une densité des lignées jusqu'à 417 pieds par hectare.
Speaking about beekeeping, they would like to mention that the site concentrates a very strong biodiversity, both cultivated and both natural. And in terms of restoring forest biodiversity, I present to you the first 20 most important species found after several years of action carried out by the center. This site appears today as just a very high forest density because there are 24 families of plants inside, 45 just genera and 49 woody species, many of which had previously disappeared from the environment, which is a very high density of woody trees.
Parmi les 20 premières espèces les plus abondantes ici, représentées par le graphique, on retrouve en premier le Deutérium qui avait disparu pratiquement dans la zone et qui est très utilisé à la fois pour le bois que pour le fruit. Du reste, tout ce que vous voyez sont des espèces très utiles à la fois pour le bois, pour l'alimentation et la pharmacopée. On peut donc dire que l'action du centre a un bénéfice social lié à cette restauration parce que ce sont des plantes qui ont des usages traditionnels, des plantes dont certaines ont été introduites et qui ont des vertus médicinales.
And among the first 20 most abundant species which are presented here, we first find the therium, which is a space which has practically disappeared in the area, but which is found very strongly in the area and which is widely used both for wood and for fruit. And all you see are very useful species, both for wood and for food. We can therefore say that today there is a social benefit linked to the restoration because these are plants which have traditional use, plants which have medical medical uses, some of which have been introduced.
Il y a également des bénéfices économiques parce que ce sont des plantes qui servent pour l'énergie, pour l'alimentation humaine et animale. Il y a un bénéfice environnemental parce que nous avons introduit des plantes de services qui permettent la restauration et augmentent la capacité productive.
There are also economic benefits because these are plants which are used for energy and for food positions. There is an environmental benefit because we have introduced service plants which allow restoration and increase productive capacity.
Sixièmement, nous avons les activités de transformation alimentaire et cosmétique. Voici en image quelques échantillons des produits à base de moringa. Ici, nous avons des femmes qui sont en train d'effeuiller le moringa pour le séchage. Nous avons l'huile de moringa, les produits cosmétiques comme les pommades, les savons et autres. Nous avons des plantes médicinales ici et avec la poudre de moringa. Tous ces produits sont aujourd'hui très utilisés aussi bien dans la consommation locale qu'internationale. Il faut noter que le centre par la permaculture permet de créer aussi de l'emploi pour les femmes et les jeunes.
Concerning the food and cosmetic processing activities, I present to you even just a few samples of moringa-based products. Here you have women who are removing moringa leaves. We have a place to dry the leaves and have products including soap and so on and so forth. Of course, moringa powder also, and all these products are widely used today, both in local and international consumption. The Permaculture Center also makes it possible to create employment for both women and young people because the processing sector includes almost exclusively women.
Nous faisons également le partage de connaissances, la sensibilisation et l'appui organisationnel. Tout ce qui est comme partage et principe permacole, nous essayons de les partager avec les populations et bien sûr les techniciens. Nous faisons la sensibilisation des populations sur les bienfaits des plantes locales pour les inciter à protéger la nature. Nous soutenons également des coopératives pour la transformation et la conservation des produits agro-silvopastoraux et aujourd'hui là, autant spécialisé pour les formations en permaculture. Le site est devenu un centre d'intérêt scientifique pour les écoles professionnelles, la recherche et nous accueillons également des stagiaires qui viennent se faire former.
And we also provide the knowledge sharing, awareness, raising and organizational support. Everything that is like a permaculture practice and principles, we try to share them with the populations and of course the technicians. We raise awareness among the populations on the benefits of local plants, just to encourage them to protect nature. We also support cooperatives in different ways for the transformation and the conservation of agro-silvopastoral products. And today, the Lawatan Center is specialized for training in permaculture, and it has also become a center of scientific interest for professionals, especially professional schools and research. And we also welcome trainees who come to learn.
Allons-nous dire des perspectives? Nous en avons beaucoup, mais je vous donne les principales.
They have plenty of perspectives, but she's here listing the main or the principles.
Les perspectives en investissement au niveau du centre, c'est d'abord la mise en place des infrastructures d'accueil pour les apprenants, comme je vous le disais précédemment. Le centre reçoit des apprenants, mais nous n'avons pas encore des infrastructures pour les accueillir, le site étant éloigné de la ville à environ 35 km.
And among those visions, the main investments prospects at the center level are firstly, the establishment of reception infrastructures for learners. As I told you previously, the center receives learners, but we do not yet have the infrastructure to accommodate of learners, as the site is located approximately at 35 kilometers away from the city. It is the issue that they are facing.
Il nous faut également sécuriser les sites du centre pour réguler la fourniture en bois de chauffe. Nous voyons ici une partie qui est clôturée, car une large partie du site, sur une large partie du site, il n'y a pas de protection. C'est pourquoi les animaux rentrent et divaguent sur pratiquement 79% de la superficie du centre, ce qui peut compromettre des actions de régénération, de restauration qui sont mises en œuvre.
Allô?
Oui, Espoir?
Okay, d'accord, je suis là. Yeah, they also face a major problem to secure the site of the center, to regulate the supply of firewood, but on a large part of the site, there is no protection, which is, that is why even the animals come in and just wander around because it is not secured. Practically 79% of the surface area of the center, which can just compromise the regeneration and restoration actions that are implemented. So they need to increase and just diversify energy sources in order to have solution to those problems.
Nous avons besoin d'augmenter et de diversifier les sources d'énergie, notamment le solaire, le biogaz, et nous avons également besoin d'augmenter la capacité de stockage de l'eau pour les activités de production.
We have to diversify just energy sources, including solar, biogas, and we also need to increase water storage capacity for production activities.
Les perspectives en termes de formation et d'appui conseil, c'est de former des jeunes formatrices et formateurs sur les principes de la permaculture, la transformation agroalimentaire et les produits forestiers non liés, et d'accompagner les associations féminines dans l'acquisition des équipements dédiés à la transformation et à la mise en place d'unités de transformation.
The prospects, just in terms of training, support and advice, there is really an emergency or a real need to train young people on the principles of agriculture, just agri-food processing and non-wood forest products, and to support also women's associations or local associations in the to acquire equipments which can help them just to produce and establish other processing units.
Tout en remerciant pour votre attention, je vous invite à observer une vie aérienne du couvert végétal d'une partie du site. Je voudrais enfin terminer mes propos en remerciant les organisateurs de cette rencontre, à savoir Lisa, Liot et Espoir, qui nous a beaucoup aidé dans l'interprétation. Merci.
I can't really finish this presentation without thanking Liot, Lisa, and Espoir, who facilitated me to reach this level.
Thank you so much, Toy. That was one of the best presentations we've actually had for quite a while coming on. I would, in my opinion, call this the top-rated presentation on what you are doing. And we would, of course, very much like to support as we can moving forward with trying to, as we do in UnityNet, develop, assist you to develop the empowerment networks that will be what we call the interfaith neighborhood academic and business collaboratives in the regions where you are located. Of course, we would like to bring together a number of international partners as well to ensure that you are successful and can overcome some of the obstacles that you have stated. So at this point, I'd like to open up the floor for any comments or questions from anyone of the other people that are on the call today. If you would like to also introduce yourself to the rest of our audience, to let us know where you are, who you are, if you're affiliated with any other organization or are a member of our Global Unity Network, either on the chats, WhatsApp chats, or Facebook or LinkedIn even, and your interest in this call today. So I'm just going to leave it open if you would like to just put up your hand and say a few words.
Thank you. Il vous remercie, Liot vous remercie pour cette présentation savamment finée. Et il vous remercie pour cette belle présentation que vous venez de faire sur les activités du centre Lawatan et promet son soutien du mieux qu'ils peuvent. Hein, et promet qu'il n'hésitera pas de vous connecter avec votre partenaire qui peuvent vous aider dans le cadre des activités que vous exercez relatives à la permaculture, mais aussi elle encourage votre collaboration avec le partenaire local dans le cadre de ce programme ou de ce business. Et puis, il promet vous connecter, n'est-ce pas, à d'autres sites, par exemple, ou groupe WhatsApp ou sites sur Facebook, où vous pouvez trouver des sujets relatifs, n'est-ce pas, aux activités que vous êtes en train de faire et trouver être un appui des autres partenaires qui sont impliqués dans le même domaine. Il est très content de la présentation.
Okay. Merci bien.
Good
Thank you so much.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm Jokanan Towe, so I'm the son of Mar Towe. I've been invited for this presentation, and okay, to start, I'm environmental engineer, so I work on carbon finance, and I'm based in France. And my company AHIABGA Group is the largest originator of carbon offset from the African continent. So for me, it was interesting to participate to this meeting for two reasons. First, because it's my mother, so I'm really proud of what I've been achieved since the beginning of this project, because I saw those places 10 years ago when there were nothing on the ground, and now seeing 10 years after what you were able to achieve, I'm really, 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 really proud, and I would like to once again congratulate her for the amazing job that she has done so far. The second point also for participating was to see what could be the impact of the carbon finance on the activities that they are doing. As you can see, carbon capture in the soils, renewable energies, all that are things that may also be interesting with the point of view of carbon finance. So this was just my small presentation. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you, Jokanan. I'm hoping that's the way you do pronounce it, but I hope we will be able to have some follow-up conversations actually regarding that carbon finance work that you're doing. We do, as I mentioned earlier at the opening sessions, I'm not sure if you were on the call at that time, we do have or support a program that was developed by Science for Peace in Toronto called the Climate Smart Food Program. And we're hoping to get food that is produced by these types of gardens certified as climate smart, regenerative climate smart specifically. So we'd like to, these are the types of production systems that we have been promoting. We'd like to begin a paradigm change, a paradigm shift in the way we produce and eat food to help solve many of these issues in the world, including climate change, but also looking at leveraging our food systems to help solve the issues around the Sustainable Development Goals as well, thinking as well beyond 2030 to the next phase of the global goals, and how we can implement solutions today that may align with those next set of goals. So I see Tapsoba, sorry, has their hand up.
Oui, oui, merci. Merci, c'est juste 2 points. Le premier point, je tiens vraiment à féliciter vivement Madame Toué. C'est vraiment extraordinaire de savoir qu'on a un tel centre de permaculture en Afrique et plus particulièrement au Burkina Faso. La question, est-ce qu'elle peut nous donner un peu l'impact social que ce centre de permaculture a? Par exemple, quel peut être le nombre de personnes, le nombre de femmes, de familles qui arrivent à vivre des activités de ce centre? Merci.
I want to thank Madame Towe on the job well done, because it is such a good thing to understand that we can have a large center which deals with permaculture, especially in Burkina Faso. But I would like to know what are exactly the numbers that are being trained in terms of permaculture in her center. So the number of women, men, young people, and so on. That is my concern. Towe, je pense que la question vous est adressée. Oui, Towe. Is Towe still there, please?
She's there, but she's muted.
Madame Mark Towe, right? Because there is, I think, 2 or 3 Towe, different Towe in the meeting.
Well, I would like to say that we're of course hoping to establish at her permaculture training institute what we call a Unity Garden learning center, where we can incorporate other solutions as well, such as the controlled environment solar roof solutions, so they can set up classrooms for indoor production systems as well. And that is something where we can hopefully get some sponsorship from the partners of the Global Partnership for Regenerative Development, bringing in some major sponsors that can bring some funding, obviously, for the more advanced solutions that can also be demonstrated and used as a learning center for the communities that surround that particular location where she is located. We'd like to also, what we say is twin those learning centers, the UnityNet Community Unity Garden Learning Centers, with others around the world, including in Canada, possibly in the US, and also in Asia, where I am right now. I will likely be heading back to Vietnam, where there's a project under discussion with some indigenous peoples in the mountains surrounding the city of Dalat, where they would like to also set up their own eco-village in that area of the pine forests for an education and training center. So with those Unity Garden Learning Centers, we can also set up some off-grid solar energy powered communication systems, high-speed internet that will allow us to deliver the training from these centers virtually to other communities and have them share with each other their learning, along with all of the cultural side of the sharing their own histories and dance and music and other parts of their own cultures with others around the world. So I'm seeing a couple of hands up again. Kakule, Michael, perhaps you could say a few words if you unmute yourself.
Thank you for the floor. Really, it's just joyful to see a bright, a good presentation which has been done with our colleague from Africa, and it's a pleasure for sure to see such things happen on the ground. And then we are willing to partner with them so that we may exchange our experience in beekeeping as well, as it has been mentioned on one of their domains of intervention, and just it could be something just which is going to facilitate us to protect more our biodiversity as they are on the ground. Really, thanks in advance to link me to the to our panelists, and then by requesting to his presentation if it may be possible. Thanks in advance.
Then I'll give you the platform.
I do have a copy of that presentation that she gave, and I can send it out following this when I also share my own presentation on SlideShare. I can put it up there with the permission, of course, of Toy to allow us to share that in PDF format. Stanislaus, would like to also say a few words?
Yes, Professor Lloyd, how are you, sir? And how are you, everyone in the meeting room? Yes, as you may be aware, this is Pastor Stanislaus Chavala Mwansa from the city of Ndola in the Republic of Zambia. I am first and foremost, maybe say thank you so much for the wonderful and great presentation that Madam Toi has made. And secondly, I've traveled away from my working place, just to come and visit my colleague, Mr. Francis Kapumpa Mutale. I'm in the office of my brother Francis, and we actually doing the same thing. Kapumpa is running a Masjeri, Francis Masjeri Community School, and also Stanislaus, we are also running Grace Foundation Community School together with the NGO Grace Foundation, From Heart to My Community Grace Foundation. But yes, together with him and myself, and ourselves at Grace Foundation, we are also involved in village banking. This village banking project, it is actually one way of empowering, and especially the women. And these women are those the young mother, the single mothers, to reduce the stunt levels in and especially in these families. And yes, let me also give the opportunity, allow me to give the opportunity to Mr. Francis to speak some few words in addition to the village banking project that both we are now undertaking here in Zambia. Please.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Fantastic.
As the Chancellor said, I'm Kapumpa Francis Mutale, running a community school called the Francis Majeri Community School. On the project he has mentioned, village banking, we are trying to help the women to empower them financially so that they can sustain their families. In our case, we've run 5 circles and we are doing fine. But the challenge we have is the capital to empower these women so that they help their children to attend the school. That is one of the projects that we are both doing. Other projects, we may be able to present them in the near future. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So are there any additional comments or questions for Toy at this time? I'd like to remind everybody as well that they're able to save the chat. They go to the bottom of their Zoom window and there's 3 little dots. If you click those 3 dots, you'll see a little window pop up, save chat, and that will allow you to save whatever's been put there.
Lloyd
Go ahead,
and
Stephanie.
everybody and our honored guest speaker, I'm just grateful. I'm Stephanie Schuler and I'm based in Toronto, Canada. And just from the few people on this call, we represent half of the continents in the, on the planet. And this UnityNet International is, and us being on this call is so crucial, as we all know. And I'm so grateful for the teachers who know about permaculture, who know about beekeeping, who know about growing food, and for the teachers who are teaching not only the children, but also the mothers, vulnerable mothers, single mothers, young mothers, the food security systems, which is essential so that we can nourish our communities, nourish our children, nourish ourselves. And we're so grateful for the knowledge keepers, for the teachers to come, as we can teach these processes anywhere in the world in an instant. We're in a game-changing time, and coming together like this in partnership with the teachers, all the facets of the ecosystem, from the finance to the learning, to the permaculture, to the technology, all those pieces come to all of us. Experts and people who are interested in the various areas, the professionals, are all coming together and putting this all of the separate ecosystems together so that we can leave no one behind. Really crucial, and so grateful for your presentation, Marta. And we hope to see you again and continue our good work.
Thank you, Stephanie. So Stephanie is also with UnityNet International in Canada. She's head of the what's called the Maui Aloha Project, Eco-Village Network, a global network of eco-villages that are beginning to be planned in Canada and in Hawaii, and hopefully in other communities around the world, where we can bring together all of these solutions, create some peace centers in different countries, again, connected virtually to each other, so everybody can learn from each other and understand the best way to move and create their own sustainable communities in their own the watersheds and ecoregions. Now I see Alessane Kus, I don't know, Kusube.
Okay.
Has their hand up. I could ask them to speak.
Hello, hello everybody. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you so much for giving me the floor. Before starting, allow me to thank the organizers of this seance of presentation. It was a great pleasure for me to follow Mrs. Towe's presentation. I am from Burkina Faso. I am a PhD student. In my area, I know what big work Mrs. Towe do in our area. She works hard. It is an opportunity to congratulate him and to encourage him to continue to do this work of permaculture in our area. The production in our area are very, very appreciated. It is an opportunity for me to congratulate him again. Thank you so much for giving me the floor.
Alassane, are you in also Burkina Faso, or are you elsewhere?
Yes, I am from Burkina Faso. I am from Burkina Faso. Precisely, I am in Bobo-Dioulasso. I know the work of the work that Mrs. Towe do in our area. I can confirm she's doing her best in permaculture domain. I think that it's necessary to encourage him in this purpose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So again, if you're able to, and if you have not done so, you are able to put your contact information into the chat. That will allow everybody on the call to save the chat and have your contact so they can directly correspond with you. And if you're not yet on our WhatsApp groups, please try to contact me directly. I have, again, saved my own information in the chat. So you can connect with me either by WhatsApp or email or in any other function on LinkedIn or Facebook. So I'm easily reachable. We like to come together in the different groups which have different themes. We have a number of groups, discussions on our what we call network of networks called UnityNet, all related to the production of climate smart food and regenerative development as the next phase of the global goals moving forward beyond 2030. We want to begin demonstrating those solutions that will achieve a regenerative economy that leaves no one behind. So if there are no other questions or comments at this time, I'm seeing it is 12:30 a.m. my time, early in the morning. So I'd like to thank everybody, especially our guest speaker today, for coming on with us. And we will see you hopefully in 1 week's time with another guest speaker during these Indigenous Global Unity Summit events. So thank you all again, and have a great week. And just as the last thing, I'm seeing a couple of numbers coming in on the chat group. Again, please feel free to save the chat. That allows you to get in contact with others who are here.
The meeting is over.
A great day all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lloyd. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eliud.